Hello, today I want to show you guys something I made a while ago. If you couldn't already tell, this is Bluestone. So this concept arose from a April Fool's video by Mambo Jumbo in this year, 2015, where he first showed the concept of Bluestone. And of course there was an April Fool's video, so it was all fake and kind of a joke. But I kind of liked the concept the first time I saw it, but I didn't take it too seriously. And a few months later, I decided to make a mod for it. About a month and a half later, here we are now. So, don't get me wrong, I didn't work on this for a month and a half. I worked on this for about 3 days. And I got it to this point. I had more plans for this, but I kind of burnt out on it. Lost interest a little bit. But anyway, it was also, I finished this right before the 1.9 snapshot started coming out, and I decided to hold on to this before I release it so that it doesn't kind of get lost in the hype train of 1.9 snapshots. Anyway, long story short, here we are about a month and a half after I stopped working on this. I want to show it to you guys and basically let you have the mod, at least what I have of it so far. So, Redstone and Bluestone. Bluestone basically behaves very similarly to Redstone. You can see that the color multipliers here are pretty similar to what they are in Redstone for both the actual block itself and the particles. You'll see that they don't connect to each other, not visually, and they don't power each other. Neither do any of the components. And every component that exists for Redstone also exists for Bluestone, except for comparator. There is no Bluestone comparator. Just decided not to make one. Yeah, I won't really go into too much detail while I just decided not to. But yeah, you can also see they can coexist with each other, completely unaffected by each other. In this example over here, here's just a showcase of the textures and the way it behaves. So Redstone doesn't power Bluestone, Bluestone doesn't power Redstone. Bluestone also has repeater locking, just like Redstone, except for the difference is that the texture for the actual lock bar, or whatever you want to call it, is obsidian for Bluestone instead of the normal bedrock. Also worth mentioning is that they won't lock each other, so only the same type can lock the same type. Now, one difference that I did make between Redstone and Bluestone is quasi-connectivity. This is also sometimes referred to as budding. It's technically called quasi-connectivity. So you may be aware of this sort of Redstone configuration powering a piston like this. This is called a bud because it updates the block. Or, well, it doesn't update the block. It detects a block update and updates the state of the piston whenever it receives a block update. So that's quasi-connectivity. There are other ways to make buds which do work with Bluestone, but not quasi-connectivity. Now these three things aren't typically thought of as quasi-connectivity because they do give an update to the piston and not just power. But yeah, since these torches, this dust, and this dust over here all give updates to the piston whenever they change their state, just like their Redstone counterparts, but they don't actually supply them with power. So yeah, so there's no quasi-connectivity with Bluestone. There is still the possibility of making buds in sort of something along these lines, maybe. Okay, this is going to be very haphazardly put together. So we can do this. This is now going to be a bud, and we can reset it. But yep. Anyway, yeah, budding is still possible, but not with quasi-connectivity. What else do I want to say? Yeah, of course this is the same for if this is a repeater. It still doesn't work. But it does work if it's like this, because that's not bud power, that's direct power, because the power is getting supplied from the block. And of course if this were a solid block it would also work, but if it's a slab it doesn't. And I also wanted to show you guys, because of this you can have one wide tileable Bluestone and Redstone stuff. So whatever you could previously do with Redstone and make it 2 wide tileable, you can now make it one wide tileable without actually changing anything. And this is just how you would have any sort of piston thing that you would have had with Redstone. You would just do this, and the rest of the components are pretty self-explanatory. Of course, you can't have comparators in anything that would be too wide tileable anyway, so that's not really relevant. Otherwise, yeah, the quasi-connectivity, by the way, doesn't work. It's for pistons, but redstone also quasi-connects to other blocks, like I think note blocks. I'm sure about dispensers and droppers. Maybe others, I can't really remember right now, but I'm sure I took care of all the different types of blocks that get quasi-powered. Another thing I want to mention is that all the sort of neutral blocks that don't really have redstone in their texture, let's say, do supply power to both redstone and bluestone evenly. So buttons, levers, tripwires, pressure plates, daylight sensors all supply power to both redstone and bluestone the same way. Signal strength behaves the same. Of course, I didn't mention the signal strength of bluestone can go between 0 and 15, just like redstone. And bluestone can power all of the different redstone, or well, not directly redstone components, so all of these, doors, trapdoors, fence gates, hoppers even, yeah, can power all of them pretty much like redstone. Basically, even though something like piston and lamp, for example, and dropper and dispenser, they all have redstone in their crafting recipe, but they're not directly redstone, they're just sort of a power block. So bluestone interacts with them the same way, again, except for quasi-connectivity. What else? So I was going to also add a block that would convert between red power and blue power, but I never really got around to it. It would have obviously been purple. And I was also thinking about giving it a 1 game tick delay instead of the typical 2 game tick delay that we have with all of the other components. I just thought it would be a nice touch to it. But again, I never really got around to it, and I don't plan to continue working on this mod. I don't really find it too interesting anymore. Just thought I'd share it with you guys, and just in case anyone's interested to continue working on this. I can't really post the source code online, not publicly at least. So if you're interested, give me a comment or a private message on YouTube or something, and we'll be able to figure something out. I'll gladly give the code. Of course, you have to be wary of legal stuff, though. Otherwise, yeah, I guess I should also mention there's pretty much, pistons are pretty much the only way to convert between red and blue power as of right now, because of there being no purple block. I guess you could also do it like this to be faster, or I guess a little bit more indirect. I suppose I should put a piece of redstone dust here just to emphasize that it converts. Yeah. Anyway, you get the point. There isn't really a way to convert between the two. Pistons are pretty much the best way right now, but I suppose you could do something with tripwires and droppers if you really want to. You could convert blue power to red power using hoppers and comparators for whatever reason. I don't know, there's a few indirect ways, but pistons are probably your best bet if you want to convert between the two. So there will of course be a link to download the actual compiled version of the mod in the description. Worth mentioning, this doesn't use Forge, you just install it as you would a normal mod, delete your meta-inf folder in your minecraft.jar, and copy over the files from the zip file. There's also a few Easter eggs in this, I should say. Yeah, let me know if you find any Easter eggs. Anyway, link in the description. Let me know if you want to continue working on this and have the source code. And that's about it. So thanks for watching. Bye bye.